Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Sonictalk episode 846. Today, recording live at 4:01 p.m. Slightly late, I agree. On the 14th of May, we're back from Berlin. For those of you maybe regular watchers of the show, will know that last week and last weekend we were in Berlin for the Superbooth show, which is kind of the highlight of the show year, really, for many of us. Just a really good fun event, and this year certainly lived up to all expectations. It also coincided with the 30th anniversary of us, which kind of blew me away a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Before I get there, though, why not buy yourself a Patreon 30 years anniversary gift? See what I did there? I'll play you something that explains, although this is still an old jingle. It's 2025 and our Patreon keeps getting better thanks to our supporters. Thank you so much. There's ad-free versions of much of what we post on YouTube, Sonic Talk pre-show, Sonic Lab extra videos, the ever-expanding Sonicstate archives, including classics like the top 20 greatest samplers. There's Patreon Discord, a monthly hangout, the excellent members map, impulse responses from classic and unusual reverbs, and a growing collection of patches and samples in decent sampler format, including some great Moog Muse samples. In fact, the music you're listening to now by Paulie Bow was made using our sample sets, so why not consider supporting us and keep us doing what we do? Head over to patreon.com/Sonicstate. Yes, indeed. And that little interlude gave me time to regroup and just, it's funny when you do a big show like this, you can't, normally I'm filming a lot more. I didn't film nearly as much. So probably the first thing I should say is a big shout out to all of the team members. Matt Maths joined us as a camera person, did a great job because Ed's no longer with us, sadly, because he now works for Schneider's, which is a great gig for him. Also, Midiera was there. That was the ground team. And back home, we had Andy, of course, who couldn't make it, which is a real shame because he missed the 30th anniversaries and it would have been a bit of a moment. Then we had Ben Robbins, who did the edits, and Chris from Battery Operated Orchestra, who did the sort of headlines and the poster frames. So thanks. I think we did pretty well. We did like 86 videos. I think there's a few more to come. We did some rig rundowns. I've got one coming up with Maiden. There's Anon Bast and also Surgeon coming up because Matt shot one with Surgeon, which was apparently great. So a few stragglers to come in. So we'll probably hit about 90 videos and all of that. So anyway, we've got a panel with us who also experienced Superbooth in first hand. So let's introduce them. Why not? So let's start off with Div Kid Ben, who was there for the entire duration. I didn't get much of a chance to have a chat, actually. I even though I wasn't filming as much, I felt extremely busy somehow. How was it for you?
Yeah, good. We didn't sit at the restaurant and have a deconstructed tiramisu this year, thinking of Superbooth highlights. That was quite good last year. So yeah, boots and no tiramisu. But yeah, really good. It felt, on my side, much better balanced work-wise, enjoyment-wise, not running myself stupid. Filmed a patch tips video that'll be going up probably later today. Kind of 18 gear agnostic patch tips, if you like. Things to do with hardware and software that are quite interesting. Lots of familiar faces on there. And I just tried to kind of say hello to everybody more than anything. I didn't give gear that much time. There's nothing I kind of got lost in for 20 minutes or anything like that. I tried to just get around seeing everybody. I find that's always the best bit, getting a good recharge from some good people. But yeah, great time, good weather. Didn't get stuck on the trains that weren't running, that some people did. So yeah, all good.
Excellent. I don't think we got stuck on anything either, which is all jolly good. Yes, it's the people. Basically, isn't it? That's the thing that really works everywhere. And we also have Gaz Williams here as well, who was there in full effect. Didn't have any work to do, so was just free to. Well, you may have been working, but every time I saw you, you seemed to be enjoying the atmosphere.
That was amazing. Yeah, I actually got some great work done. So I'm dead happy. It was very successful for me in lots of ways. But yeah, also partying and hanging out really is kind of the key. And, it is an international event. So being able to see everybody and literally people from all corners of the globe go there. And so it feels fabulous to be amongst all this like-mindedness. The weather was great. It's perfect actually for the event, wasn't it? It was kind of warm but not too hot, because a lot of something I think if you haven't been to Superbooth, I think it's quite an interesting little thing is prior to COVID, virtually all of Superbooth took place inside the kind of main building, and that you'd have very busy corridors packed full of manufacturers.
Oh, the noise. Yes, the
very
noise.
Noisy. And then when they tentatively had the September one, which was, they had a lot of social distancing in place, and they put out these tents outside and opened up the Bungalowdorf area. And I think everybody who went was just like, this is amazing. Can we keep this? And so then every subsequent Superbooth after that has had that large outdoor amount of, and there is quite a bit of...
And thank goodness it didn't rain and doesn't generally.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So hence, I mentioned about the weather. So all of the kind of, that side of things worked beautifully. And I think it put everybody in, I felt it was more of a relaxed Superbooth this year as well somehow, but but I was going to say just that whole format of the show changing, the stuff that now happens inside and in the corridors, I guess they get a lot less footfall, but you just get much better quality experience of interacting with the people at the booths and stuff. So it works super well, really.
Yeah, definitely. I seem to have lost my MIDI controller. Is it back? Yes, it's back. That's fortunate. Phew. I was going to, phew. That was, and also, what was I going to say? There was something that came up that I completely forgot. Just big thanks to Wagyu for the 30th birthday gift. You don't have to do that, mate. That's very kind. We got another one from Bonkarama, who I don't think I've met. Anyway, and also we got Robin Vincent, who was also at the show. Robin, Molten Music Tech, of course. I met one of your other children. You bring a different one every time, and I don't know how many times you've been or how many children you've got, but I hope you don't run out.
Yes, I do. I do try as part of my family education. I think it is. Yeah, that was Nancy. That was my daughter. She's 13, and it's probably the last time. I think, as in, I feel that perhaps next year I might be released into going to the full event because I won't have the children quite so much to look after because they've grown now to a point where they're a little bit more self-sufficient, and I don't have to run the house, if you know what I mean, on the Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
So it's probably the last time I'm going to be dipping in just for a day, which is quite exciting. So it's opening up. So I'm just really here a bit more as a casual observer because I didn't see a whole lot other than people. Although, as usual, I spent the first half an hour quite lost in the main building, going down empty corridors, trying to work out I'm looking for Erica Synths, and I cannot find it. Very
that was the back corridor upstairs.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, I think geographically, also, I would like to point out, for me anyway, and I know because I mentioned this before, and I actually, as I was leaving, I spoke to one of the main organisers, and they said, "Okay, so we heard you thought the music wasn't very good compared to Bristronica," because I'd mentioned that I didn't think it was as well curated because Bristronica is more of a club thing, and that I got a hard stare, and I said, "No, I actually thought it was a lot better," and they have actually put more effort into it. They've got a bit more budget for better, to expand on the music, and I think that can only make the thing get better. So, overall, the whole event felt really well organised. Not that it hasn't been before, but there's a sort of element of chaos, which is quite endearing, but probably not if you're on the end of it and don't know where your power is or whatever. But it felt very much up together. The music was very up together. It just feels like it's really matured this year, and that was fantastic, I would say. Absolutely brilliant from those impressions. And of course, Robin, I saw you at what I affectionately call Bo's YouTube petting zoo, which is where all the YouTubers go to hang out in the woods.
Yes, no, that's it. It's definitely there to be petted, ideally. Is a nice way of looking at it. Yeah, well, you feel like you're a little bit inside the cages at one point, just looking out, going, "Oh," trying to make sure that you're seen with the right people is the important thing, I think. And so I had to spend a little bit of time with you, and I feel that was a good moment. I've got pictures of that.
Time poorly spent. Yeah. I think we all went to that, didn't we? I saw you, Gaz, and of course Ben as well. It's nice, isn't it? Because you get to, most of us, as you said, or I think, no, as Alex said in his video, which is a great video of senses of the Marla Melodies, it's like, as a YouTuber or as someone who creates a lot of content, you spent a lot of time alone in a room. So it's nice to go out and actually physically meet these people. I mean, we have the luxury of this sort of thing every week, but it's not quite the same because it's very sort of regimented to an hour or so, and that's all we get, So, I suppose that's where it really makes a big difference. I mean, I will say that this show is fairly formatted. There's not really much going on. I didn't say, but I would like to say a massive thank you, because for those of you who don't know, I mean, I imagine if you know anything about Sonicstate, you will have been exposed to some message that said we were 30 years old this year. I don't know the exact date, but Chris Midiera secretly organised an event, and what happened was in the auditorium. Well, I was told, because usually I'm like, if somebody says, "Oh, do you want to come and see something in the auditorium?" at the end of the day, it's like, no, I want to go home. I don't want to do any more work. I'm done. Yes. But I think Gaz and various other people came up with a really good idea that it was like, Andreas wants to have say something about the future of the show, and I just thought, better go to that and be seen going to that. So I sat down. Andreas handed me a camera.
It was my idea, Nick.
Claiming it.
I know what you're like at the end. I know what you're like at the end of the show, and you're kind of ready because you've been working your bum off, but you're ready to dash. So I was thinking, what would guarantee him being there? And it's that thing. It was like, an important announcement about the future of the event. And so the fact it got you there, and you didn't know about it then, did you? So I was literally, I recommend, because we didn't video it, because I mean, I wasn't prepared for it or anything. So I was sat in the front row holding a camera, and then suddenly Ed, who was part of the team, and I still think is, and maybe will again from time to time, and Chris came out on stage, and I was like, what on earth are you doing there? And then suddenly it was like, happy birthday, 30th anniversary, and it was really nicely done. And then Gaz and Non-Eric, who I haven't seen for a long time, and Adam, who's a really good, he's like the fixer for the show, came out and sang Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday, which I hope doesn't get Mylar Melody's copyright strike. But but come on, how did we come out? I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, it was.
This is what I want to ask.
We were pulled out in a cart. You were pulled out in a cart by Schneider's in a very sort of it was like a sort of clown character who sort of ran off in a sort of arms and legs going and pulled you on, and you came in and a basic guitar. Yeah, it was very funny, and everybody responded well, and the whole thing. I mean, it seemed to go on for ages. I wasn't prepared for it, but I mean, not your song. I mean, that was part of it. And then it was like, and now there's a load of videos, and then now we're going to, Mylar did an interview, and it was really nice, and it felt very, it was a very warm kind of reception. It didn't feel like it was something you have to do to some old duffer who's about to retire, which I'm not, by the way. I like to think of myself as not an old duffer, but I feel more like an old duffer after having it marked, I suppose. But it was great. It was really good fun. It was
incredibly well. I mean, I can't speak for you, Nick, and your perception of it as the kind of star of the show, as it were. But these things can be really cringy, either for an audience member that's kind of watching it and it feels like it's going on too long, or for the person that's in focus. But it felt like it was just the perfect length of time. Everything was good. It was funny. It kind of kept moving. Andreas Schneider's great. The big clown flailing around the stage to get Gaz. It was funny, and there's so many good people involved. I thought it was really incredibly well done. Well done to everyone.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm good. Big shout out to Midiera for organising that, and whoever else was involved. I've tried to thank everybody, but because I was ambushed, I didn't have anything prepared, so I probably only thanked like 2 people or something. I can't remember.
If anybody wants to see it, I think the Mylar Melody's little. Mylar Melody's weird Germany Superbooth trip or something. He's got a video up there. I think if you shoot in about 10 minutes or so, there's a good long clip of what happened. Well worth watching. So it was real funny. But
it was very good, yeah. I suppose so. I suppose in a way, I'm saying that was perhaps my highlight of the show. You see what I did there? And before we get onto your highlights of the show, I'm just going to play this little message. My God, I'm professional.
Life without reverb is flat, dry, lacking depth, space, and life. Until you dial it back in. Introducing Equinox, a premium immersive reverb for post and music production. Equinox combines legendary algorithmic reverb engines from Exponential Audio with cutting-edge iZotope technology, letting you quickly craft the depth that your projects need. With powerful and intuitive workflows and over 1,200 professional presets. Whether you're working in stereo, surround, or immersive formats, Equinox gives you the flexibility to add realistic space or take your reverb into new worlds with deep control and creative effects. Download a free trial or get it for yourself now at iZotope.com.
And we'd like to thank iZotope for sponsoring Sonic Talk. Now back to the show. Yes, before I bring anything else up, I've just got to put this Billy Buck Cheapo Card Company said, me as the new One show presenter. You don't know how inappropriate that is, because whenever that comes on TV in our house, I dive for the remote to switch it off. I won't have it on. It's the most banal, and I find it's like more mid-morning TV that should be on a much more obscure channel somehow made it to prime time. I very much dislike it, but that's really neither here nor there. I don't know. There was so much to see. I mean, it felt. I think that exhibitors were up hugely. It felt very buoyant, didn't it? I mean, it didn't feel like an industry that was kind of feeling low and miserable. And and in many ways, I know that the sort of global situation has been very distressing and worrying for a lot of people. But I think perhaps in a weird way, it has encouraged perhaps more European manufacturers to feel a bit more confident, because they'll just go, well, maybe our market will increase because maybe we won't buy as much stuff from other countries, or certainly the US, which I don't know how good or bad it is, but it didn't feel like anybody was moaning tariffs or anything, which was really nice. It was a total break, because I wasn't watching the news or anything. So I would say that was kind of, everybody else feel that it felt very buoyant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a definite feeling of resistance and just, pressing on sort of. And I thought that was really good. I think you were right about it being a lot of positivity. It was a very positive feeling show, wasn't it?
Yeah, and some good. It was good to see. There were a few American. I mean, obviously there was the 1010 Music launched a product there, the Bento, which I think got us. I can't remember which award it was. We did do an award for it. Let me see. I'll probably find it somewhere. Was it innovation? Was it? I can't remember. I'm looking for my notes because that's a 1010 Music. Yes, innovation. That's right. One thing that did come out for our awards, we gave them all out, but I have to say that I think we need to refine the categories a little bit more. But we try not to make too many of them, because it's a real slog. Because you're going around handing awards out, and you get there and it's like there's nobody from the booth there, and you can't do it. So you have to go back 3 or 4 times. So it is quite a commitment in many ways. Perhaps we'll come back to the awards, because then we can comment on people's thoughts on those as well, and alternatives and whatnot. But so Robin, you were there for the least amount of time, so therefore I feel that anything that you saw that you can remember being noteworthy might have somehow more a bit more
value.
Traction.
Yes.
Yeah, more value. That's what I'm trying to say.
Value. Yeah, I mean, indeed, there's only a few things that I could see in the end. But I think one of the interesting things was that anything you looked at was kind of fascinating. I mean, maybe that's the nature of our little industry, is that everyone has something different. Everyone has something bleeping on their desk, and it doesn't really matter who it is or what it is. You can go, oh, what's this then? And you get a 5-minute spiel, and you go, well, that's really interesting. And then you're off to the next thing, and you're sort of packing these things in. There's no sort of level of disappointment. You don't go, oh, well, that was a bit sort of crap. Everything is just fascinating. I mean, I was blown away by this really strange isomorphic keyboard that I think you've probably talked about previously, that was stuck on
the Equinox.
No, it was stuck on physically weird keys stuck onto a poly brute. The name of the thing, I'll find it in a minute. I had it down somewhere.
Well, gosh, I'm pretty sure I haven't got a video to play for that. So
there you go. The Janko keyboard.
Janko keyboard. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it based on that? Because there's a French, or they used to make some synthesizers with a kind of accordion keys instead of a regular keyboard. Is it sort of based in any way on that, or am I just completely?
It's like a regular keyboard is thrown up into sort of a three-dimensional space, and it
now with extra jank. So that's a great, that's a great line.
So you can play everything with the same shape. Every chord is the same shape, and I'm not entirely sure how it worked, but I enjoyed it tremendously. I got to talk to the Warthog guy about the other Adams.
That's the one thing I didn't. Yes, I didn't make that. That's the one thing I wanted to get.
That was quite interesting.
That's the programmable, the programmable modular thing. We did talk about it on the show a while back. Okay,
it definitely opened it up a little bit for me, which was useful. So I know a bit more about it, but I think they're still a few months away from really putting it out there, or are they? I don't know. I think there'll be more to come on that. I got to play on the Artemis, which was really nice. First time I've had a go.
That got best polysynth from us. Yeah, we gave it best polysynth, and I think just because I know I'm a massive fan of Dreadbox, and I realised after we'd given the award, that's got they were a sponsor of the show at the post roll, and I'd completely forgotten. But it was literally so many people came up and said, "Have you heard the Artemis? Have you heard the Artemis? Have you heard the Artemis?" And
really nice.
So that's why.
And the other thing I liked was the time machine, time slicer, time drain, whatever it was from RYK. There's always a beautiful thing happening over there. But yeah, it's like a plug hole where things disappear in time.
Spins differently in different parts of the world.
Yes. RYK.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there was
that sounds good.
Off the cuff highlights, I would say.
I think we had a video for RYK, but it would take me so long to find it that, our playlist is there for all to see. I've got a couple of things, but we don't have to play videos because we've just, frankly, we've just uploaded 80 plus videos. So I'm pretty sure you don't want to see them again because you can always go and find them. So, mate, yeah. Anyway, that was all right. Well, brilliant. So did you stay? You didn't stay the night that you arrived. You stayed the night before you arrived. So you didn't get to party, I believe.
No, that's right.
Well, like a responsible parent, you didn't expose your daughter to a load of drug-addled Berliners, which is probably good.
Some kind of Berlin club, yeah. Yeah, no, we got in about midnight, so we were straight to the hotel and ready for the next day.
Wow, that's pretty sterling work. Yeah, we had a good room. So we had the same room that we always do, which is really handy for us because it means that we've got a quiet space, which we kind of need. That's the thing. It's very interesting because we had a new team member in Maths, who I think did a great job, as along with Chris as well. But because he'd not done it before, when you've done it a few times the way that we do it, you hold back a bit of yourself because if you don't, by the end of the day, you're probably not going to be able to, you really, really are done in, and you cannot. Certainly at my age anyway, you just can't function. I was talking to Adrian Utley because Adrian Utley and Will Gregory both went. Adrian had never been before, neither had Will. And they came up and chatted at the awards do, which was the 30th celebration, which is funny. And I was saying to Age, you really have to kind of learn to filter some things out so that you've still got the ability. And he said, yeah, I know. I think I might pee myself and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it because I've got no sort of brain power. My subconscious is my buffer's so full I can barely control my bodily functions. I know it. He was joking, obviously, because he wouldn't. But it's that sort of, you do have to remember to keep a bit back, otherwise you just won't survive. I think My Vaults are in the chat as well. Big shout out to the My Vaults crew. We spent Saturday night getting pretty wasted, if I'm honest. And it was really good fun, actually, really good fun. For those who don't know, also, I took, I didn't take my partner and a neighbour of ours who we're all really good friends. They came to do sightseeing in Berlin. They really crammed it in, and I think possibly even put in more miles than we did. Even though, because they would see, normally if I'm going to a city, I might go and see a couple of things a day. But they were doing like 4, 5, 6 things in a day, and they were absolutely cramming it in. I don't know how they managed it, but they had a nice time, and they seemed to interface well with our world as well, because it would, it could be, you never know how it can be. Okay, Ben. So, I know I can't ask you for highlights, but maybe just give me one or two for now. Let's trickle feed them a little bit so we could drag it out a bit longer.
Well, one thing, I just mentioned it before the show, a bit of history that I wasn't aware of at all up in the pro audio area was KF Instruments Audius, which I didn't catch his last, Klaus Fischer Sound Inventions, it says on the website, So in 1978, he was developing a digital pitch transposing sampler delay unit, kind of without realizing Eventide were kind of going that way. And it's about the time of the Publison and that kind of era. And they're remaking them. So they'd made 40 originally. I love all this, the kind of romance of the story that goes with these things. And he knows 30 of the original 40 owners. Connie Plank was one of them. I believe Kraftwerk had one. And yeah, he's retrofit 30 of the original 40 with MIDI and has then remade this device. So it had, I don't know if you caught a video or anyone saw this, but there's 2 lanes of sequencing, which you can derive from clocks or even from an envelope follower. So they were playing full tracks, beats, microphone. And it just had that, there was just something about it. And staring at it reminded me of where things like the Make Noise Morphogene have kind of got to, the Mutable Instruments beads, all these modern kind of granular pitch shifting sampler type devices. And I'd never heard of this one. So it had a little basic primitive sampler.
Is this the right thing I'm showing? Because I'm assuming it is. Oh, it is.
Yeah. Goodness. So those two kind of keyboard banded encoders are pitch shift per step, per left and right side.
Okay.
So if you're on a beat in and there's envelope detection and gate detection on the way in, it would, per kick and snare drum shift through this thing, and it sounded phenomenal.
Looks terribly expensive.
Yeah, a lot of money, not going to make any. Heimbach would be perfect to go through the kind of history of it. I'd love to see him do a more fulsome rundown than I got in person. But there was a DB25 on the back to about 24 CV inputs. And I really was you could kind of just see the lineage of this and other kind of bits of sampling history, as I say, through to, the Morphogene
interesting.
And all these other modern devices. So on a kind of, I didn't expect to see that. That was a real kind of highlight. Although I doubt I'll ever see or touch one again. Seashell was a big highlight from Instruo. Which
the Instruo.
Yeah, just did a video of beforehand. And I remember probably 2 years or more back, there was this huge academic book. I'd gone up to Glasgow to see them for some other work. And it was like, the USB data standard. And I'm like, what's this? Like, well, what are you down at this, micromic data down the cable level for? And I believe it was Finn and Murdo on the team that were kind of like, we're going to really nail USB communication. And that the first thing that's led to is Seashell, which, is kind of a phenomenal analog semi-modular voice. It sounds like a whole kind of Surge or Buchla system in a kind of cute little package. But then there's some really clever...
I actually filmed that one. It's got, I'm just waiting for the ads to play because I didn't get a chance to look at this, but I did. I was the guy who filmed that. I'll see if I could just, it's this little thing here, isn't it?
MIDI on the back, although I'm actually using the...
And it also does a USB-C.
Keyboard as a keyboard.
Lovely looking thing.
Keyboard does
yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, so USB powered, although it does come with a power supply. And, they've even got branded power supplies. They've kind of really gone to a high level of kind of packaging and all that with it. Hardware DSP on board, full plug-in control. There's really clever stuff. Like someone said to me at the show, if it's analog, why would I bother with a plug-in? And I think it just saves a ton of button combos. There's loads of really interesting things in the plug-in.
And you can recall everything. So per song, it will have the settings for, or per session or whatever in the DAW, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and there were some clever things like, the coarse tuning pot is just an analog pot with digital control underneath, but you can set that to be an octave control, which of course is common, an octave switch and a fine tune. But you could say, I just want oscillator 2 to be a minor scale or to move chromatically through its coarse tune. And with all its knobs at noon, even though it's analog, it is a middle C. So I thought from just pitch recallability, ability to really dial in the device, I thought it was really impressive. And wandering out with a power bank and just kind of playing with it outside is good fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And I really like where, although I didn't get much time with the polymaths, I really like where Make Noise are going. This new universal. That was the biggest.
That was the biggest. That was the biggest video of the show, and we gave it the best modular because the original maths is, if I'm correct, is the biggest selling module of all time. I think, or certainly right up there. And so polymaths is a new one, and it just looked like it was a no brainer, that one. I think.
I just feel like they're slowly unveiling, and I don't know anything to spill any secrets anyway, but they're slowly kind of unveiling this kind of new approach to polyphonic, multi-layered, kind of multi-voice kind of workflow. I can imagine an amazing equivalent of, say, their shared system in years to come that's just got this whole new, different kind of approach. I think they're in a really interesting space. So I'm curious to try that one.
Yeah, nice. Okay. I mean, one of the things, there were a few things that grabbed me, which I think we should probably, because we, let's see, the Genki Katla was there, which is the, well, I can play a bit of a video. Let's do that because it will make sense to those people. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I think it's possibly this button and it'll have
Hi, Oliver.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Superbooth.
So I'll fast forward it.
It's actually after the reverb.
Oh, we like
this. That's volcanic rock on the side. It was digital when we saw it at Buchler and Friends, and now it's analog, and even the knobs have got a little bit of volcanic pumice on them. It does sound pretty amazing. I know a lot of people went absolutely crazy for it. Quite expensive, 5 voices, but it's he sort of likened it to the Black Corporation Deckard's Dream, which is a similar kind of price, about $5,000. So yeah, but a lot of money. That was pretty good. I saw the Reliq Instruments, the Clank Uranograph, which won Best of Show because it represents the sort of spirit of what a crazy idea. It was, that was the reason for it. It felt like rather than this is the best synth ever made, it was just like, what a brilliant invention, what a thing to kind of represent. And that was something. Did anyone see the Fractals Magnolia? I didn't film it, that polysynth. It kind of looked interesting. I didn't hear anything that made me kind of go, wow, in the demo, but that doesn't mean anything particularly. It just, but it looks amazing.
There was just enough on it for me that didn't work yet. And they were very clear that's not there's lots of stuff at the show that's a prototype. There were stickers on a lot of the knobs and they were, that one's not implemented yet. That's not doing anything yet. The Eurorack modules are great. I mean, they're at the higher end price-wise, but they kind of sound and perform in that league, if you like. They feel like a luxury and they sound like that. I'm not sure if 8 voices will be almost too much for lots of wave folding and shaping, and will it almost get too intense, or will that just mean that sound designers and users just need a little bit of restraint, maybe not dialing knobs up totally fully? But it's been a long time. I've seen people like Jamie at GeoSynths and a few others. I've seen why don't we have a kind of West Coast poly, or a poly that's based on kind of FM and shaping and folding and not the kind of standard subtractive paths? So it's interesting. It just kind of felt like it wasn't quite there yet, although playing just 1 or 2 notes, I got a lot of joy out of just playing really simple lines. It did sound
it looks
good.
like I haven't really studied the specs or something. It sounds like with all of those harmonics, what it really needs are some time-based effects to try and spin into, because that would make it really come alive. When you've got that level of harmonic content, it plays very well with reverbs and delays and stuff. So, but yeah, maybe that's not what they're going. And then maybe they are going to be there. So I'm sorry, I don't have any more information on that. Gaz, any particular couple of highlights from you?
Oh, plenty. So I'll try and keep this brief. Bella, who make the Bella Gliss module and the Bella board, which is I guess like a
DSP platform, yeah,
DSP platform. Yeah. What was really impressive about the Bella when that came out, maybe what was it last year, as a controller, is that it scans at such a high rate, so it's incredibly responsive and fast. So if you can use it to create custom envelope shapes or use it to sequence notes. There's a lot of things that. So the Bella Trails then is the new thing that they were showing, which is like a kind of forward. Well, on one level you can kind of look at it as like 4 glisses in one, but it's much more than that. You can do gestural shapes and it'll record like 2-dimensional sort of movements, and you can have that then you can rotate the outputs as well. And I noticed that this rotating of outputs was the kind of the zeitgeist thing that was happening on lots of things this year, where you've got inputs coming in, CV inputs coming in, CV outputs coming out, ways to mess around with it in the middle, and then being able to sort of rotate that so you can move things around. And the Elfo from the always wonderful Enjoy Electronics was another nice little module that had, some similarity, although done in a completely different way, with 4 channels of modulation. Again, with this ability to morph between them, make noise. Had just released the Jumbler, which, this is something, and actually your own modules, Ben, with Trace, it's this idea of taking multiple inputs and sending them to different places. That felt like something that was appearing in various things. But other highlights, I see that Tom Curtin's in the chat room. Me and Tom went to Superbooth together. Tom was doing some stuff on the Polyend stand. So, and actually, if you have got a Polyend synth or are interested in one, there's a brand new synth engine that's been released for the Polyend synth this week called the DWA, which is like a dual waveform synthesizer. I think it's I think it was the bit that was missing from the Polyend synth. It's a really powerful, dual waveform synth, so worth checking out. But also Polyend had something which I think was a really interesting pedal called the Mess, which is a multi-effect step sequencer, was it, or something like that, like a foot pedal, like it's a foot pedal, but it's also got a sequencer built in. So they brought out one which is like a drum machine in a pedal. It's the same sort of format, but possibly makes more sense.
Does it make more sense? I think the drum machine was didn't make an awful lot of sense to me. But
you've got 4 effect slots, and I think you've got over 100 plus different types of effects that can be in, and then you can assign the effects to different steps, and I think you can parameter lock or the effect value on a per step basis.
Right.
So,
gotcha. Well, that makes sense.
So you can have this quite interesting, sequenced effect thing. Really nice. But as you mentioned earlier, the Bento, obviously, that's something that's well worth a big chat about from 1010. Very, very cool.
It's bigger. It's bigger than a black box, bigger than a blue box, bigger, and with more kind of display and stuff on it. So so it's actually a bit more of a
built-in battery, so it will work as that kind of standalone thing. The I/O on it is really good because you've got 2 sets of MIDI ins and outs, so four all on mini jacks, but four MIDI ports, and then 3 stereo ins and 3 stereo outs on it, and a separate headphone out as well. So they've managed to pack an absolute ton of connectivity into this, and it's still fairly small form factor. I mean, but large screen, touch controllers, and I've had quite a bit of experience with 1010 stuff over the last year or so. I use the Bitbox Micro in my live rig. So I think what's good about 1010 is that they don't specify absolute limits to things. It's a bit more like a computer. When you get a laptop, you don't buy a laptop and it says that it's capable of doing 32 tracks and runs 16 plugins or something. What they do is they'll say, it'll do this, but you can go beyond that, and then you might hit.
This is guaranteed.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's a little bit more open and lets you be a little bit more experimental. I mean, I don't like the term groove box, especially when applied to things like this. So people calling it a groove box. I prefer the term infinity box because it really, it can go so far. And it's got the lemon drop built in as well.
Okay, interesting.
Granular workstation as well.
Nice.
And not all the features are currently implemented, but you've got like an Ableton Live kind of launch aspect to it as well. So
it's like it's like a platform for the best of 1010's sort of range, I suppose, in a way. Yeah.
Bang on. And I think the price, is around $899. I think it is, which obviously not super cheap, but also I think that's probably priced right for its functions, and it definitely gives the Ableton Move a kind of a run for the money. Arguably is a better format, but depends on what you're after.
Well, more connectivity. Yeah, no, the Ableton Move had an update. We filmed something with the Ableton folks, which adds a load of MIDI functionality, which is good. People seem to like that.
Well, one of my favorite things though that I saw, and it was so small in a way you wouldn't have necessarily noticed it at all, but it was from a new Chinese manufacturer. I'm just getting the details up now so I can
is this the ring pull?
Yes, it is.
Module.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we tried to find that because you told us about it. It sounded like such a great idea.
Yeah. So it's essentially a very similar small module. I think it's 6 HP. And then it's got this thing. It is an industrial. It's a standard industrial tool. It's a little bit like the kind of thing where you put off an old doll where you pull the ring out and then let
to make it speak. Yeah.
And it will speak, and then the wire sprung. Yeah. So what it basically does is just output CV. You thread your finger through this ring, and as you pull it, so you can do like theremin type things. But the key difference here is that you can feel the tension. So the further you pull the cable, the more tense it is until it's at its absolute maximum. And
how far does it go out?
More or less your arm length. Okay. From it. So it gives you plenty of range, and it's just got a little attenuator on it. It's super simple. But it's it's a KH modular, is it? The information. KHIAT modular, KHIAT modular. But I was really taken with it. In the demonstration, the guy had a little joystick so that he was controlling timbre on and doing pitch with this thing. Brilliant, simple but brilliant.
Nice.
Well, you might
sounds good.
Not to, I'm not saying anyone's stepping on anyone's toes, but Dave Cramner from Nervous Squirrel. Fascinating.
I was just looking that up, trying to look that up. I'm going, I've heard about this before.
I mean, he's done all sorts, like, the Aero chocolate adverts where the gramophone's playing bubbles through the chocolate, and big, phone advertising campaigns. Great kind of inventor. His mind just must never see a limit because he seems to do these amazing odd things. But he builds modules and is into synths as well. And he has one called the String Thing, and it's from a fishing game controller. So it is the ring, it's the pull with a coiled, very much similar, the coiled string inside. Okay. And I think it's from a surplus of fishing game controllers.
I can't imagine why there would be a surplus. I mean, I don't know one, but I would if I knew about it.
But you can find, whether we've time to pull it up or not, but nervoussquirrel.com, which is a absolutely fascinating way to just spend 10 minutes scrolling down his homepage. But it is on there, and the back of the module is huge. So that one must spread, must be a couple of meters of string on that one. But yeah, got nervoussquirrel.com. It's fascinating, the things he's done.
That sounds interesting. I have to check that out. I'm afraid I'm not. Yeah, I can't find it at the moment. I'm unable. Sorry, who was that?
No, I was. Carry on. I interrupted.
No, I wasn't. I was going to say. What was I going to say? And any other things that I mentioned as well? I think the Reliq Instruments is looking really good. It felt very. That's the thing that has it's like 256 coloured pads, a screen, and the 16x16 audio matrix plus a 16x16-ish control voltage. But what I didn't realise that it does is it allows you to create attenuation and matrix and audio routings in it. It sounds like, as I was watching it, I was thinking, wow, I can think of so many ways that this would be interesting. That was pretty cool. I did actually have...
It's huge.
Yeah, it's big. Let me have a look. I think I can probably press that and see if it comes up. Nice to see you. Hey, Nick. I'll show a bit of it, but just purely because it was mentioned. This thing, absolutely massive.
And I can do the same.
Really, but external audio. It merges, and it doesn't have any DSP on it, because I was thinking, could have had a mixer in it. Imagine that. It would just be the whole set. But that looks really interesting. I think that's about 1699, which doesn't see, that's what I found. Anyway, he didn't tell me at the time. They raised 500 grand on Indiegogo for that.
Wow.
So it's I mean, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, not as much as Chompy, which I think did $1 million too or something, but it's astonishing, isn't it, that that something so what you consider to be so niche is would do that. So yeah, very interesting.
Hey, you could hear how. Sorry. Yeah, you could hear how taken you were with that on that video. There are these things that are just, oh, can it do this? Oh, the tone kind of changes, and it seems to be answering a lot of questions and ideas you had for, was it summing and also being able to split out and route them all over. Yeah, really super clever. And the thing is, he said the thing is also there's the possibility of daisy chaining inputs and outputs, so you could expand the number of IOs in the matrix. I think he said there was a maximum amount, which was still a lot. So for each one, you're getting 32 more IO or 32 IO across. So you imagine a few of those. I mean, I just think, wow, that's actually, there's some really, I mean, that's a very powerful system. I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, it's just, I think I've got the URL. You can see it. And it was, very impressive. I was impressed. But like I say, I didn't film an awful lot. There should be a shout out for the Yamaha 50th anniversary synths. Humongous controller for the montage. I was sent up to do a video for that, and Yamaha were very keen that I did it. And Michael Finer, I got to say, well done, mate, because he turned up, it wasn't working. They had to reboot them. We hadn't really been briefed as to what he should do, and we managed to make a video out of it. But when they booted him up, they rebooted him, and they were run off Raspberry Pis. They had a Pi screen in the little thing. So, but these things were amazing. 50th anniversary. One for controlling the FMX engine, and one for the analog engine. Yeah, Gaz. Sorry.
Absolutely something that should be mentioned. We saw some very diverse prices from like the frankly ridiculous PPG for what was it? It's 10,000.
Wow,
bonkers! Why that is, but
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, well, that's a conversation in itself. But I was going to mention, though, that there was plenty of cool things in the lower end of the market. And maybe one of the big standouts of the show was the Novation Launch Control XL3. Because, and I mean, this thing is it retails for about what? I think I looked earlier, it's about 189, is it? Or
the controller.
Yeah, the controller. Yeah. So this is...
I shot that video,
It's an evolution of what was originally a MIDI controller for Ableton Live. But what makes the Mark III really, really cool is that it works completely standalone. So it's a very comprehensive MIDI controller with knobs and sliders, a display, and and a very
yes, but I will say it does. And this was the question I asked because I thought, oh, fantastic! Well, can those buttons do the things that the keyboard version? I can't remember what that's called. I've got it. Whatever. But that gives you. You could do NRPNs, you could do program changes, you could do key commands, you could do. Whereas this one doesn't do any of that stuff yet, but they said it might be something that it could do, in the future. Which I think with any MIDI controller now, you can't get away with only having CC values and note values. You need to really kind of up your game because it makes it so. These things are so useful. Everybody who uses one is not necessarily going to use it in the way that it was designed to be used. It might not be. It might, and it's so flexible to be able to use it in a number of different ways. It really opens it all up as well, I would say. Yeah. But I should probably hold on. I should probably just interject here with a quick message from our other sponsor. We'll be back just after this.
I know right away when it's good for me because it makes me write something.
Komplete 15. A do-it-all production bundle for endless sonic inspiration. I did not know it could do that.
You have your low sounds, you have your mid sounds, you have your high sounds.
Create any sound imaginable.
All together, sounds nice and big.
Whatever sound your music needs, make it with Komplete 15. Yes. Anyway, sorry to cut you off there, Gaz. I think you were about to say something else, but I don't know if you remember what it was.
Yeah, no, I do. It was related to this idea of. There's been a lot of talk lately, hasn't there, about kind of the cost of things. A certain Espen Craft has been making some quite bad managed videos about things, but I think it's quite interesting to see that there was quite a broad spread of of products of all sorts of budgets. So I thought that would lead us to a good chat about the Moog Messenger, because looking at that now, listed in Britain is listed at $699, and we were just talking at the head of the show, weren't we, that product, that particular synth, it's got some new features, hasn't it? I mean, the fact
our best mono synth, in fact. Well, not that. I mean, there weren't a lot of mono synths there, but it was a no-brainer because lots of people said it sounds bloody amazing, and I haven't had the opportunity to try it, but yeah.
It's quite interesting the build quality, getting your hands onto it. It's got like a metal top, but it feels like it's kind of a black plastic chassis. So it's definitely, you can feel that it's of a certain
built to a price,
built to a price. But I mean, this as well is indicative possibly of the new Far East manufacturing that's happening since the In Music takeover or whatever.
Acquisition, yeah.
Acquisition.
Was it in the Sonic video? Sorry to butt in, Gaz. They said this is the first synth that is fully developed and produced within, since the In Music buyout. Because the Muse and the others were all kind of overhanging designs from the prior company. I think they've done a great job on the Messenger.
Yeah, pulse width modulation on the sub oscillator. But yes, carry on, Gaz. Yeah, you're right, though.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but I mean, it feels at $699 like that's really good price if that's how it indeed is going to be. And I mean, there's obviously a lot more competition in that area than there used to be. But I think what they've done here though is get the essence of like a Moog synthesizer and make this modern. I picked it up and it's pretty light. So I mean, I can imagine this splitting opinion, people thinking that it's like a bit cheap, or it's super portable and we'll see loads of them on stage, and actually that lightweightness,
maybe
is a good thing.
One thing they have done is they've given the Moog ladder filter bass compensation for the first time.
Yeah.
What I heard about, I mean, I heard it in the flesh, and it's pretty fierce bass compensation. It's like it's a massive jump in bottom end and a big reduction in it feels like, it would be nice to be able to have one or two levels of that, but I guess they went full bass compensation, so it gets. I imagine it's going to get enormous, and it does sound quite interesting. So, I expect we'll be getting one for review at some point. So I will check that out. I mean, everybody else has got theirs all right. I saw Luke pop there; he was hanging around. He didn't go to the YouTube thing. He said it's not my bag, but he was. I did see him. I didn't see a lot of people. No. Yeah, well, it's a pair of hands, isn't it? It's sort of there's something to be said for maintaining anonymity. I had a meeting with someone, and I said I would meet them at the bottom of the stairs, the big sweeping staircase in the foyer. As it turned out, they couldn't make it, and I was stood there for about 20 minutes, and literally it was just non-stop. People coming up and saying, which is fine and great, but I imagine if you're trying to get stuff done, I mean, I wouldn't, because I didn't have a camera in my hands, people were thinking, we're assuming that it was fine, which it was fine, but I'm less approachable when I'm working, shall we say. But there were a lot of people saying hi, and thanks to all of that, we got some great selfies. I'm sure there was some good stuff, even a couple of young women as well who had selfies, which is a very unusual thing in our scenario in our industry. But I mean, the Berlin thing is a lot more diverse than perhaps some of our other synth shows, although not Bristol. Bristol, I think, is probably the most, perhaps. So our awards, we gave them out. I'm just wondering what people thought about them, possibly. I mean, I know it's. I'm not looking for critique necessarily, but whether or not you agree or disagree, or whether you've got something else. Let's see. Erica Synths won the best beat for Hex drums. Again. It was sort of contended, but perhaps, I mean, they went so large and their demo was really good. Best monosynth, as we said, Moog Messenger. Polysynth with Artemis. Effects processor, we went with IntelliGel Swells. And it was a toss-up because I really liked the This Is Not Rocket Science, Bop and Steve. I don't know if anyone saw that, the deconstructed reverb, which is very topical, Ben. If you like a deconstructed tiramisu, it's kind of had, you could deconstruct, so you had access over the early reflections, the delay. It was a stereo delay module for the pre-delay, then a tails engine, then a pitch shifter, and you could kind of almost make your own algorithms up, and it was really fascinating. I would like to get one in for review. 1010 Music got the best for innovation. Recording and studio, Bitwig Connect, bit of a no-brainer there. Best of show, Clank Modular for the Uranograph, which, as I said, it was more about the spirit of the thing. And I think best modular, Polymaths. We did a new PWM award, which is a sort of floating one for kind of whatever. And we gave that to Future Sound Systems for the Crick, because a lot of people really rated that. But also, his demo was really PWM-like. So a lot of PWM, so it's imperfect.
I'm just staring at the thumbnail, and I don't know if Finley could open his mouth any further without dislocating his jaw. Must be the moment you handed him pretty much. But you can. Finley's great. It felt very. I didn't know the theme of the PWM award being a new one, but Finley has always had this thing of like, why is it only the pulse that kind of gets a little bit of love and modulation in a typical kind of analog oscillator setting? So he's been very good. You can always shape the sines, the triangles, the ramps. So it's very fitting. You can always kind of pulse width modulate a bit of everything anyway. And he's really kind of pushing for that. And Crick is utterly fantastic. It really deserves it.
It's really gone big for him, hasn't it? It's really. I think we're going to get him in to do a presentation. I'd really like him to come and show his wares. Normally that's a thing that we kind of. It's one of our commercial things that we do. But I'd really like to support him But he actually said we're selling really well at the moment. I don't need any more orders. Of course, you always need more orders, but doesn't want to create too much of a waiting list. I think is possibly the thing. Chase. Chase Bliss got the best presenter. He was really good, and I've done him. Tyler, I've done him before. I did him at the Synth and Pedal Expo, and he literally. Anything you say is like, oh, can it do this? And he's right on it and is immediately kind of saying yes, and can demonstrate on the, he can flip on a dice. He's very, very good at that sort of thing. So that was good. But I think we'll probably change a few of them. Anything that you think should have got it or another award category? Gaz, I'm sure, yeah.
Just maybe for the innovation, the Mofo Econ 6. I mean, it was only being shown in a prototype form, but it's a poly. It's a beautiful. It's just a module. It's like a 6-voice exciter, and I think they call it a BBD synth. You've got like a car plus strong, almost like a poly car plus strong synth in a way.
Nice.
Beautiful looking thing. I mean, this is going to retail around €2,000. So this is at that other hot, a higher end of things. But when you feel it, the quality, really, really easy to set up modulation paths on it. Gorgeous looking design, but also just really good to see like a polysynth that is based on a different approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to do I think we need the best prototype award. That's what I think we should else. And another one that I think we should do is synth voice. Because I mean, so many of these things are a sort of self-contained voice, or so it's a module. Because I would love, I don't know if you saw the Rides on the Storm. I can't remember what it's called now.
Oh, brilliant! Is it the SED, the SED?
Yeah, his things sound so good, and they're really affordable. And Uwe George is a absolute legend. He really is. There are two people that we can guarantee this will happen to when we interview them. So when we're there, what we've tried to do now is we give people headphones, so we can have some of the interviews. You might notice people have headphones on, and that means they can hear our voice, my voice, or the interviewer's voice, and their own and whatnot. And Uwe George, and also Joe Mox guy. You can guarantee Joe Mox always goes, I'm sorry, it's very loud in here. Every show he'll do that, and Uwe George will always do the same thing. There's those two people who basically are probably a little deafened from techno over all the years. And did you the Joe Mox demo? That was banging that he did for us. Absolutely amazing. I forget his name now. Is it Jürgen? Jürgen. Oh gosh, yeah. Jürgen. Yeah. Really, really good demo. Yeah, it was a close one thing for a best demo we should probably do as well, to be honest. But then it would be a hard battle to win.
Yeah. Just to give give that Morphor a bit more love that Gaz mentioned. They do, so Morphor as a company making Eurorack modules do BBD delays really well, whether that's making like a Carpal strong pluck with a very fast delay line, or just as a BBD effect, they have a larger 20-something HP, kind of really lush, lovely stereo BBD delay. But they've taken the idea of a modal synthesizer, which is Elements by Mutable Instruments, where you have this exciter section with kind of plucks and clicks and claps and noise bursts that then excite a resonant space. But instead of doing that digitally, it's all analog. And they've said, well, we do BBDs really well, so we'll just use fast delay lines as an analog resonance space. It's phenomenal. The whole kind of noise excitation of these tuned delay lines. But then there was this whole polysynth aspect. And it was like, oh, is that a digital, blend some saw waves in for a bit more color? But like, nope, that's all analog as well. So it had this really interesting, I don't want to speculate and use these big clickbaity terms, but is it a world first analog modal synthesizer? Kind of felt like that to me, and didn't sound kind of gimmicky for it either. It was really impressive, and they gave a really lovely demo of it too.
It's quite
nice.
It'll sit as a desktop unit, and it's only pretty shallow, but it also does come with rack ears as well. So
you flip it out. Okay, I'll have to check that.
Yeah,
you mentioned modal synthesis. I had a really good demo of the Carbon 8 X, which is the 61 key one. That's I forget the name of the guy, but he did a really good job. I think we'll be getting that in for review quite soon, definitely. So yeah, a big shout out for those. The battery operated orchestra, Chris and Bree, very kindly sent us. I did this before the show, but. I've got some really nice tequila to get through, and Andy's got a nice bottle of whiskey. That's very kind of you. That's ever so kind. So thank you, folks. And thanks, Chris, for doing the work. He was working over the weekend for us and had a terrible cold. So that's rough. You never want that to happen. Any other closing thoughts before I wrap up? Is there anything else anyone wants to mention? Robin, I know you've been very quiet, but you must have seen some other bits and pieces as well. I come trying to think what...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the award for the best pin badge that my daughter picked up was from Eternal Research on the Demon box. No idea what the box does, but it's a triangle from hell.
It's a transducer. It's a transducer network. I did that one. Yeah.
Nice. I like the Synthux Academy, the Spotty Catch dual looper, is it? They do some great stuff, all based on that Spotty Catch, thank you, on that platform thingy jig that they have. And it's a good development. It really seems to have come along a long way since the last time I saw it.
It's a dual looper. Had a really good demo from them, and that's open source. And they're currently asking for people to sign up to buy early models to help develop that. So do check that out. If you check the video, there'll be a link in the show notes for in the notes for that particular video. I haven't got it to hand, but yeah, good shot, good catch, even good spotty catch.
Otherwise, I've got the Monumatic 2 review, which was quite cool from Nobula. So I can tell you more about that soon, I think. I also got the Redshift 6 and its multi-timbral.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So we shall see. Lots of buttons that don't do anything is my only concern.
Yeah, that's what always put me off a little bit. I mean, it's not them specifically, but a synth that's firmware's not finished is very hard to review because you just don't know, is it not working or does it not work? And you've got to verify all of those things as you go through it, which is quite time consuming, which, it's not a reflection on them, but it is to review something like that is quite difficult, I would say. Notable accent, a Korg were there, saw Korg Berlin. I didn't see the Korg booth, but I don't think had anything new, but Korg Berlin was showing the Phase 8. We caught up with, we saw Tats on the morning we were doing a roundup and sort of forced him to do a demo on a stand that hadn't been set up yet. So thanks, Tats, for being a good sport. That looks kind of fun. That's going to be in production soon, I think. No Roland, though. I wonder if they're thinking, we missed out there. I'm not sure. And the Rodec thing that they did with Sherman, man, that mixer, that whole mixer just
Gorgeous.
I'm looking at that going, I want that for no other reason than it looks brilliant and just sounds awesome. I mean, it must cost an absolute arm and a leg, but the Sherman thing sounded really good as well, didn't it? It just all sounded beautiful. That was pretty good. I'm trying to think what else.
Big buzz around the GRM Tools Atelier.
Yes, I filmed that. That sounded great, although not ready by any stretch. But yeah, looked really good. You're right. That was there was a lot of buzz around that. I did an interview with Matthew, actually, who's one of the coders there, or I'm not sure his exact role, but one of the main guys.
The big Plinky is fantastic.
The big Plinky.
Yeah, the big.
What is that? Is that GRM Tools?
No. It's so the Plinky. Well, there's a bit of a legend in software world. Alex, I think, is that right, Ben?
Yeah,
and then so the Plinky is available. Is your Ben? You might be.
It's your rack size, but it's smaller. Is it about 20 HP? It's about the size of.
I've got
very Plinky, but it's about the size of this,
right?
Relative to my big head, and it's small, mega powerful. Robin. There we go.
Robin has it. You've got it, Robin. I was going to get it.
Is it a big or little one?
Make it. I've got to make it.
Oh, you got to make it.
So the Plinky,
I mean to.
It has it has like a kind of touch panel with loads of controls on it, and initially it's quite overwhelming. But the big one that they're doing is more of a standalone thing. It's probably about this big, with all the I/O on the back panel, and is amazing. It's sort of. It's quite bonkers. Everything is a question of like kind of shortcuts on there. I'm imagining if you spent a bit of time with it, you'd be able to get around it pretty quick. But like you have like kind of 6 strings, if you were to call them that, and then you can move up and down pitches on them. But everything, you've got like a shift button. I think you've got like an upshift.
I think we need to see it. We need to let's wait for the video, because explaining something so abstract is a difficult job.
Really abstract.
But basically, they've gone from small. And a lot of people like that, but potentially fiddly. Someone in the chat said the Plinky is a bit too dinky for my big ass pinkies. And they've made a kind of 12-inch record sized one. They've just kind of blown it up bigger. And that then feels, and the whole end of a finger kind of fits on a pad much nicer. And I think the technology around, so you can bend in and out of notes and things like that on there. And they're working with making sound machines, which are producing all these things, and working with them, working with Alex that designed the original. And they're doing a really good job on making them available as well.
Nice. I should probably, there's one more thing that I wanted to cover, just because I think it's such a great thing that it exists, and I would like to have given it an award of some kind. So I'm just going to quickly play it, and then I'll have to do a wrap, because we've, as ever with the post show like this, there's so much to talk about, and we've got to wrap things up in the not too distant future. So let me just play this one. Oh, I can do it like this. No, it's that, isn't it? Hold on. Okay, it's not going to work. Fantastic. I've got one of those. Oh, here we go.
So we're here with Dinseng, Paul.
Hello again.
Hello. Yeah, you've thrown a bit of a curveball here.
We're all about preserving the techno culture, and before the USBs and CDJs, we had rolling machines or drum machines and 303s, but we also were playing them with vinyl. Now what we have here is a record lathe that you can use at home to make your own.
Yeah, that's kind of all you need to know. I mean, that is. I think it's like a couple of grand or something like that, isn't it? It's not. I mean, it's not massively expensive, and you can cut your own vinyl discs. And I just think, what a fab idea! I can see, it's almost the sort of thing, because I didn't. Teenage Engineering did something which was just rubbish, it was a toy, whereas this actually will do it, and you can actually cut decent vinyl. Just thought, what a lovely idea, really, more than anything. And Dinsink, he's a great guy and a bit of a stalwart of the community, and what a brilliant thing to do. I don't know, did anyone listen to any of the vinyl or see anything being cut on that? No. Okay. No. Interesting.
Other than it was happening, and a feeling of, as they crank that sub in the acid booth, I wonder how questionable the playback is. With I don't mean for at home use. They'll have ironed that out perfectly, I'm sure. But yeah, can you cut a record at 5 p.m. with a cranked acid booth at Superbooth? I don't know. Maybe you can. But, curve.
Well, I suppose we'll find out. That's a great way. Yeah, but it just seems like a really neat idea. I really like the idea of it. Absolutely fantastic. God, what's going on? Sorry, I keep losing. Oh yeah,
I got one last thing, and that's I got my hands on the Oxy One Mark II, and it is fabulous, as I was expecting. I won't go on about it because I think I'm a massive fan of it. But the new one, I mean, it's an evolution of the original one, but it is phenomenal.
You've got it.
So, yeah,
nice. None of my buttons are working, so I'll probably have to stick it. I wanted to say, if I do it, I'll just press this button. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everybody who watched all the videos. A big thank to all our sponsors. Obviously, that's UVI, Soma, and Yuhi, as well as Dreadbox, and all of those who kind of chipped in and helped us make the show what it can be. A lot of little manufacturers who guaranteed shoots. It's just a thing that we do. We're able to get round and shoot a lot of videos. We can't do everybody, but that's part of the way that we can make it work. So thank you to all of you, and thank you to all of the team. That's Andy and Ben and Chris and Midiera and Matt. Absolutely fantastic work, everybody. So I think that was kind of it, really. Oh, I kind of lost. Yeah, oh no, here we go. It is working. Something's going on. If anybody's got any closing thoughts, I mean, I can't wait till the next one. I'm really looking forward to Bristronica. Actually, I think it's going to be fun. And because everybody, on the Saturday night, we hung out with my partner and her friend. We were all hanging out with the MyVolts people, who are just such fun to be around. I suspect they might come to Bristol to another modular show just to meet the people again, although it's very dangerous. You have to be very careful around certain party types, just because things get out of hand very quickly, but it's always a lot of fun. I was very sensible most of the time, so but because I have to be. So thank you, everybody. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Oh, I forgot, I've got all of this. This is the chat room now. I had to do this because I couldn't figure out how to make the rest of it work. Thanks everybody. Thanks to and thanks to all of you lot, the guests and all of that. And thanks to all the birthday wishes. God, there's so many thanks. I think that's it. Gaz, you anybody got anything to plug that they need to talk about? Robin, you got anything particularly that you need to plug that you haven't already? Say you've just got them for review. Anything videos coming out today? Did you say they were coming out?
No, I'll be working on the Redshift 6, which is fun, but I just need to wait for that multi-timbral patch to come through before I can really lean into the horrors of a firmware unfinished review. That'll be fun. I have the Bop and Steve as well, so once I finish the Bop and Steve, I'll send you it over if you like, and you can have a play.
I love the sound of that. I must admit, that's very tempting. Thank you very much. Gaz, how about you? What's next? Anything exciting on your horizon?
Oh yeah, lots of things happening. There is something that if anyone is thinking of coming to Bristronica, we're going to be doing, Steve Davis and myself are going to be doing an event on the Thursday night. That is part of Bristronica. Bristronica is the Saturday and Sunday, I think. So, but we're doing this event on the Thursday night as a way of, we're trying to get people to, who are coming over from afar to come maybe a little earlier and having lots of things going on. So just in case anyone is thinking of coming, come for the Thursday.
Book a night earlier.
We got something dead special planned. So
excellent.
Just planting seeds there.
Nice one. What about you, Ben? You've got a video dropping later today, did you say?
Yeah, so my Superbooth video like last year is patch tips. Gear agnostic, things you can try on modular, hardware, software, going around and asking people for kind of creative ideas to leave us all inspired. Because I get to do a lot of gear stuff at home, so I didn't want to do that again at the show. But similarly, Bop and Steve is something to look at soon. I'm trying to distill the Moog Messenger down to just kind of like 3 unique-ish things. A Crick video is in the works for future sound systems, but equally had a kind of, it's selling really well. Can you just kind of hold off a bit? So that's kind of semi paused, but the results from it are phenomenal. It really is a good synth. I have a little update on something coming later in the month, and it's busy. There's a kind of a really tight run just before Superbooth and just after, before we kind of get into the depths of summer. For people getting new stuff out. So loads to come. And Excellent. Just to say as well, just quickly, I do think just watching your videos is almost a better way to take the gear in. It's what I'm doing, and I was at Superbooth for the duration. I couldn't get near some things. It's that busy. There's certain booths I went, and you kind of stand around twiddling your thumbs for a minute and think, I can't stand here all day. I've loads of other stuff to do. So, I'd come back and forth from people. So to anyone I didn't see, I apologise. And there's still loads of your videos to check out for things I missed. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I could say actually, just to tie on to the end of that, is that when I used to cover the news, as I did for certain websites, I got everything from Sonicstate. It all came flooding through your channel, and sitting at home, actually writing news about Superbooth, you understand and see and appreciate far more of it than actually being at the show. Being at the show is a different experience, but being at home, you should feel like you've missed out on the whole thing because you get all of the detail and far more about the product.
Exactly. You'd never be able to see all of the things that 3 people can see at a show on your own.
No, absolutely.
It's just logistical.
You do phenomenal work is
Thank you.
Kind of what I wanted to say, Nick.
Thank you. I'll take the praise, but I know it's not me. It's this time. It was definitely the team did a lot of the heavy lifting, and as I've named them already, I was asked to mention this, which I will quickly mention. I think it's the International Drone Day on the 17th. Links to the tickets. Look, Mum, No Computers playing. That's for the Coastal Electronauts, so do check that if you're in the area of Canterbury. The Gulbenkian Theatre in Canterbury on the 17th, which I believe is Saturday. Is it Saturday? Yeah, it must be. Maybe it's Friday, but anyway, you'll be able to figure it out for yourself. But on that bombshell,
can I just say one thing? I'm going to do a live stream tonight, so I just realised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to get a plug in for that. So that'll be
okay. Well,
9:30 tonight. 10.
All right, brilliant. Well, that's it for this show. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for watching and all of that stuff. We're going to say goodbye now, and we'll see you next week. Oh, I'd forgotten. Mike Lindup next week.
No way.
From level 42, yeah. 42, apparently so. So, Paulie and Mike are coming on. There'll be another slot.
Wow.
Excellent.
Get your time. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.